I have in front of me here a module which I called my_mod. And in my_mod, I've defined three variables, x and y and z, and I've defined a function, hello. So if I'm in Jupyter in the same directory, I could say import my_mod, and then I'll have access to all of those names as attributes, my_mod.x and my_mod.y and my_mod.z and my_mod.hello world, and it works just fine. So that's good. But, but, many people don't want to be bothered with the whole my_mod dot something. So instead they say from my_mod import, and they could specify individual names, but they don't. Instead they use something that drives me completely bananas. They say from my_mod import star. What does that do? Well, from my_mod import star says, hey Python, go into this module here, and any name that is defined as a global inside of the module, I now want it to be a global in my, well, in this case, Jupyter Notebook, but in my current scope. So if I do this now, right, before I do this, if I say X or Y or Z or hello, it's not going to work, right? It's going to give me this name error, as you see here, because these names are not defined. They are not actually variables. They are attributes on my mod. But if now I say from my mod import star, well, now that's great. Now I have four new global variables, X, Y, Z, and hello. And I know it seems tempting to do this because it cuts down on how much you have to type, but it is so bad in so many ways. It, first of all, violates the whole idea of modules being namespaces. I want to divide up the world into different namespaces. I don't want everything to be a mishmash. What if tomorrow they suddenly got rid of last names or surnames in the world? It would be a lot harder to figure out who was who, right? And the same way, if we get rid of the namespaces for our variables, there's a chance that something that someone wrote, something that someone else wrote, they're going to get mixed up. We're going to have what's known as a namespace collision. So, like, practically speaking, it's going to be a mess, but also semantically speaking, it's going to be a mess because we really want to keep these separate things separate. So I really urge you not to use from my mod import star. Import the specific things that you need. And yet, sometimes you have to, you want to. And as the author of a module, you should know how this is going to work and how you can sort of defend yourself against this. So I'm going to reset my kernel here so that all the names are lost. And now I'm going to go back into my module here, and I'm going to say here, underscore secret equals shh. Right? So this is a variable. It's a variable in every possible way. And if I were to say now, import my mod, now I have my mod dot underscore secret, and it is there. But what if I say from my mod import star? I have X, I have Y, I have Z, I have hello. Do I have underscore secret? No, I do not, because it begins with an underscore. And Python's import mechanism makes sure that when you say from my mod import star, it does not include anything that begins with a single underscore. So that's kind of nice, but you obviously don't want to be defining all of your variables and functions with underscores at the beginning just to avoid people messing around with your names and like importing them en masse. So how can we get rid of it in a different way? How can we stop people in a different way? Well, it turns out that if you want to, you can define a variable here called dunder_all. And dunder_all is a list of strings, and these are the strings that you want to be exported when someone does a from import star. So if I say here all equals x, notice it's a string x describing the variable x. And now if I go here and I say from my mod import star, now I'm going to have y. I'm sorry. From my mod import. Oh, that's right. I'm just going to have x. I'm not going to have y. There we go. X was exported. X begins with export, right? And y was not, and z was not, and hello was not, and so forth. So we can be very explicit about what we want to explicit about what we want to export there. Okay, enough of the X jokes, folks. So you can add as many or as few things as you want there. And so you can even give it an empty list if you want to export nothing, right? So if I now restart my kernel, and now I say from my mod import star, they will think that they've imported something, but actually none of the names will be imported because the list is empty. Here's another nasty trick you can do. What if I put in a name that does not exist? Like I'm going to put in the name here, you should never use import star. Actually, let's keep the exclamation points away from there because that might really like tick it off somehow. And now if I restart my kernel, and now I'm going to say from my mod import star, look what happens. It says, hey, module my mod is an attribute, has no attribute. You should never use import star. I think the message will not be lost on the people who try to use it anyway. Now, there are obviously times when you have to use from import star. Everything, even ugly stuff in Python syntax, has a reason, has a purpose. But if you can possibly avoid it, I implore you not to use it. And if you're writing a module and you want to really stick it to the people who are going to do import from import star, that might not be so polite or nice, but at least you'll be teaching them a lesson that they deserve to learn. Okay, enough of this soapbox for now. If you have questions or comments about Python or about these videos, catch me on Twitter, catch me on email, and don't forget to subscribe to these videos and this channel for lots of Python stuff. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my free weekly Better Developers newsletter where I share lots of Python tips each and every week. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you again soon.